Hey, sixth grade. I just wanted to make this really short video to kind of wrap things up with the Call of the Wild, okay? I really want to focus on this whole Call of the Wild, what it means, what it has meant throughout the whole book, okay? We know that once Buck became kidnapped, he was having dreams, he was feeling this pull, he was hearing this call, okay? And all of that is referring to him kind of remembering his ancestors, okay? These wild dogs, these wolves, that he eventually became domesticated from. And so he learns really quick that he has to develop this primitive way of his ancestors in order to survive. Okay. He finds out that no one is going to take care of him. No one's going to protect him. He is in a very different world than he was with the judge. Right. And so the whole story, okay, is kind of about him becoming aware of this and about him sort of reverting to these primitive ways in order to survive. Okay. We see it when he kills Spitz. We see it when he steals food. We see it when he, kind of fights for his leadership position in the team. And it isn't until he meets John Thornton that he kind of feels love again. Okay. Well, then we know what happens when he comes back to the camp after he's been with the wolves and after he's been, kind of answering that call in some respects. He comes back to the camp to find John Thornton and the rest of the men dead, right? And he attacks the Yehots and he kills the chief. He kills several others, and several fled, and so they've given him this name of like ghost dog, right, or evil dog, because they saw this viciousness in him, okay, this primitive, primordial beast, so to speak, okay? And so I just really want y'all to understand that when Jack London is talking about the call and what that means, okay, it's all about him going kind of back to this very basic, very primitive way of life of survival, and being in a pack and taking care of each other instead of other people taking care of them. And so I know on the test, you've got some questions where you're going to have to match the characters to their description, and hopefully that doesn't cause you too much problems. If you've read, you should know this. There's a few true false, which again, I think are pretty simple as long as you've read the book. And the short answer, just give me a very short sentence, okay? It doesn't have to be anything too elaborate, but I do want a complete sentence on that. And let's see, I want us to understand that when he answers that call, when he kind of, I think there's a part in the book that says something about sings the song of a younger world, which is the song of the pack, okay? They're talking about the wolves. And again, this is just all about Buck going back to this kind of more primitive, simpler time. Okay. Because the wolves are still living that, right? They're having to still survive on their own. Okay. And so Buck, who was this domesticated dog who was very well taken care of at the beginning of our story, is now going back to this very primitive, simple, basic kind of life. Okay. And that's really what I want you guys to get out of that. Okay. Now, there are 2 essays. You do need to answer them both. You can either write them on the back or on another sheet of paper. I'm looking just for a few sentences. Okay. It does not have to be anything long or elaborate, but the first one asks, would John Thornton have eventually let Buck live out his life in the wilderness. And this is an opinion question, okay? If you think John Thornton would have, say that. If you don't think he would have, if you think he would have kept him and kind of, you know, made him more as a pet or work dog, so to speak, then that's fine too. Whatever you, as long as you can back up your opinion, you're good. The second one says, just what does the author mean by the call of the wild? Okay, so again, remember, this is what I've been talking about. This is the call of his ancestors of this simpler time, okay? And then so what is this call? Okay, we've just answered all of that, all right? And I just really didn't want you guys to miss that main theme in the book, okay? That this is all about Buck learning to just go back to a simpler time of life with the wolves, all right? And if, again, he had to do all of this in order to survive, okay? He had to figure it out pretty quick. If you have any other questions or you're struggling with something in the book, just text me, call me, and I can walk you through it, okay? Good luck. Next week, we will do at least one poem, maybe two, so I'll have your poetry books out. If you will please turn in your Call of the Wild book on Monday, I would appreciate it, okay? You guys have a great weekend, and take care.